Honorable Boko there.
Yes, sir.
Upon me.
Pacho me hoye pa.
Etiefo Joso pa. Ministry Boko.
Obibia Boko.
Constituencies where
Egusu.
Emu edin kakra egusu. Mate inti for this week, no, it said the issue of illegal mining has been on the front burner. Listening to how our conversation echo as minister in charge of land and natural resources, Ete was saying,
yes, Egusu. Mensan chair with you for him. Senior illegal mining.
Yes.
Galamsey, Sebi, Yemai Muha. Since the 1980s, Mana, sa he jumedi higher miner bedroom pempensway. Na 1980 na he PNDC government added law by PNDC law to regularize and legalize small-scale mining. All through that period, the governments after governments have been battling with illegal small-scale mining, and I think that it's gotten worse over the years systematically. And we've been trying all kinds of methods to come to grips with the issue of illegal small-scale mining. A whole host of measures have been put in place already. As you know, river bodies are declared river bodies as red zones, suspended recognizance and prospecting activities in forest reserves, ban the manufacture and sale and use of champagne, procurement of speedboats to patrol river bodies, the recruitment of river guards, introduction of mercury-free gold equipment here, they buy here. For the first time in the history of our country, we've inaugurated 83 small-scale mining communities in all the mining districts of our country. Revamped community mining schemes, a lot more, much more enhanced community mining scheme with sick bay, with washing places with an environmental officer on site to ensure concurrent reclamation and revegetation. Ongoing. National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program, as we speak today, is taking on board 80,000 people who have alternative livelihoods as we speak today. And approach, is based on two pillars: reforms, as well as law enforcement. Into when my reforms are now law enforcement, normal be Operation Vanguard, Operation Halt, so senior tiano so koso dijumana sana wobenya obedrum pempensu abetumakase sebi ho say baby e wodru no eye enti ena me no kase enura ne nurachi on the instructions of President Akufo-Addo, the Ghana Armed Forces are launching another phase of Operation Halt.
Enura ne ende.
Yes.
Okay.
Me no kase kra in the field.
Okay.
It's been done simultaneously in the northern sector, the central sector, and the southern sector. All the three major, not major really, but all the three sectors of the Ghana Armed Forces are conducting operations simultaneously as I speak. I think about 20 excavators have been retrieved so far. A good number of them have been decommissioned. Thousands of champagnes have been burned down.
Almost 30 and
major illegal mining sites have been closed down, have been clamped down, and the operation is still ongoing. And there are new characteristics to this particular phase of Operation Halt. The first one is that matters to do with logistics and finance have all been ring-fenced. So we're not going to have issues of finance and logistics. So
and finance and logistics for military
for the
personnel,
operation, yes, all of it is being sorted out. Military for they are going to wage this for as long as it is necessary. In the past, they do it and they stop, and then when they stop, then people come in. And anybody who understands the illegal mining space and industry, the miners will always say, "So, another week or 2 or 1 month, and then we can go back again." This particular operation, the president is insisted that it's supposed to be waged for as long as it is necessary, until such time that we are satisfied that things have come.
Anyway, under this operation, or more terms of reference, they say Okay.
The priority are the river bodies. That's the priority. or they're supposed to clear the river bodies,
okay.
and then they move into the forest reserves.
Okay.
And all of that is being done. Near Tosumi and San, not so much unlike the past, but this time around we made abundantly clear that we, and for that matter myself as the minister and my ministry and other stakeholders are responsible for formulating the policies relating to mining, which is actually what it should be. But when it comes to the implementation of the enforcement regime or the enforcement mechanism by the Ghana Armed Forces, they are supposed to do so independent of the ministry, and of any other entity. Chiefs, religious leaders, influential people, journalists, members of parliament, ministers of state, political leaders. The military people are not supposed to take any instructions
from anybody. Not even from who minister.
No. I've never done that anyway, even in the past. But I'm saying no interference whatsoever.
In the instruction from only their commanders.
Yes. And actually what we've done is that my ministry has furnished them with a full list of all licensed small-scale mining concessions.
Omukrasa
list, no, and that's what they are going to work with. So corner say, Omudru baby na say, on can list no, they are supposed to clamp you down, and nobody is to interfere. And the good thing about it is that the military now will be accountable and responsible for the law enforcement results of this particular effort and of this particular phase, so that touch would perish the thought. If it doesn't go well, they have to be held responsible. Exactly, because we have provided them with what they need, and we've given them the framework and the contours of the policy. So they are now to implement it on the instructions of the president.
But did you say Omukra list of licensed small-scale mining companies? No, say Omukra licensed mining company be sites. No, more say we engage in some level of illegality, and also we take action.
Take action, and the IN say. Mine inspectorate officers and a CID officers come. The CID officers no ombe gather evidence. I meet media court near prosecuting say prosecution here.
Yes.
And now I know can say I'm sure you come to Aisha 1. We are prosecuting here. 187 illegal miners have been convicted and sentenced in Eastern Region alone. 280 illegal miners are currently being prosecuted as we speak. Just 2 or 3 days ago, 2 Nigerians were convicted and sentenced to 20 years imprisonment. So prosecution is a major part of our whole policy, and that is why we've planted CID officials with the military people to collect evidence. Because as you know, the military people are not trained to do that. So the CID people will collect it, and then the mine inspectorate officers are also to guide the military people in cases where, as you say, the concession is licensed and yet illegalities are taking place within the lawful concession. Then they can act on that too. And I'm very excited, I'm very encouraged, I'm very happy that the military have finally moved, because it had to take them a lot of planning. Say Operation Vanguard, Operation Halt 2, and we still don't get the results that we want. So it took the Chief of Defense Staff and his commanders a good deal of time. I mean, people were talking about president, why is he not moving? He has soldiers, he has that. I mean, in government, you can't be responding to everything. But even when we were being bashed at the time, the truth of the matter and the reason for, if you want, the so-called quote-unquote delay was because the military were crossing their T's and dotting their I's and making sure, say, BBR is in the question.
Mr. Say, Yebema, she know I am more. My other question, say you try Operation Vanguard, you try Operation Halt 1 and 2, and this new operation is so bad under Operation Halt, code name, no, as it were. Ain't a day in the we are different. Then I was a gun and Ibia Utio, no, Enya who trust was at this time, no, where they be different.
Oh, OGD say a bit, and so na so bam so ejina nipa bebre so I mean obi ejina nipa bebre so ase ma kan hwe ewiase bebia one year broni fe no extractive industry where bebia you two are there say petrochemical industry mining industry bebia ewiase bebia sa manfo mutia mra so omode ye ne omope no edi mu akotene wo ho bebia oko South Africa omo galamsey friend galamsey no mo friend no zamazama na no be say na otwe mienu etwa emu omo ye yi nsini bi ewo South African Broadcasting Corporation documentary a ekire say enekra no South Africa aban no chese dadwene kese a omo enya wo ho ne say yi sa zamazama fo yi atoto atuo we say me say minister wo kontia sa dwumadie na ne target wo ne abotu ekun ana say law enforcement for ko soldier for ne police for ko so mo kwa kosi o mo kwan a o mutimi kum o ama be ya asem kese pa ye national security issue there in South Africa. Even in Australia, me call Australia na anu me me counterpart or minister for mines Australia din komo adeba ko the two men him say yo mo dadwen kese no mo frɛ no prospectus no is the equivalent of galamsey or zamazama in South Africa. Omo dadwen kese wo Australia hono. Na me nka no say me na me kan no nkyere say na ekoso wo Ghana ha no ye foa so ana say ye patch say ye to ensa to wi msi yentimi nya hwe da bi eno no e kyere say adie isikasem na broni be kano ye systemic endemic age old remu me kra mintimi ntina hanka say we mu ka ho ne sa no ma no be nyina enim say ukọ baby a galamsey sebi wo ho a asemi maka misre o sebi impressa me sebi na medeka yene mu bi ti radio mu se ni e kasa ya na mpre bebre no na akoye se ye hyeda nim ne ekoso abonte ho no ukọ baby mia galamsey wo pa na ho na abi hu the nature of galamsey, the pervasive nature of galamsey, so that you have a whole district or a whole community which is in many ways connected to the industry.
To the industry.
Totally. Welders are welding gold washing machines. People are manufacturing champagnes. Women are selling to the galamsey people. The young men and women in all parts of that district are involved in galamsey. You know, but people are parceling out lands and selling them, and you know, sheep have to be slaughtered before the galamsey. People will believe that they can get gold spiritually and superstitiously and all of that. So it is that complicated. Nonetheless, we still have to make our best effort, employ our best endeavors to come to grips with this matter, and we are absolutely committed to do that, and we are doing that. We're taking all the necessary measures to come to grips with this matter of illegal small-scale mining. And what will I say? Ashasi ne enro ne echi ne ye be koso na sojafoɔ no aboan ne etimi etintim mu yie kama enche bia me ne yi enmunyamfo Dambotwi honorable Dan Kokubotwi and the Ministry of Local Government abe the additional measures relating to excavators eba betuja aye gidi say no so be boa pa
eno no beba later
nyame adoma na otwa ye be me no be press conference near the atuja and essentially is to strengthen and consolidate the various policies and measures we have relating to earth moving equipment for which excavators are part of. There's a gamut of measures you put in place to really get hold of this matter of illegal small-scale mining. But as I say, the only way we can get results is president, minister, regional ministers, MMDCs, chiefs, media people, assemblymen, business people, various actors in the body politic of Ghana, all of us, civil society organizations. And that's why I'm very excited, I'm thrilled by this national awareness which is come up with this galamsey.
With galamsey.
Yes, you know, it should forever be so that the Ghanaian people and the various actors in the body politic of Ghana feel that outrage about what is happening, scandalized by what is happening. That strengthens our hands, and that for me is really a step in the right direction. So
stakeholders also play a role, media. the media coalition play a key role in bringing about this national awareness. Omu issue statement earlier today, but Hansan Honorable, I remember I said before Operation Halt 1, mu declare some areas be as red zones. One, mining in river bodies and forest reserves. I remember. Sir, red zone and mu declare especially for forest reserves. No, you left here, that's all.
You left here, Egusu. Na no, me strong kwa na machichi mukaka.
Okay.
Ni edikan. Ni amekan me minister me na me de sa nhihye ne bai.
Yes.
Ni amede tu dwane say prospecting, recognizance, and or exploratory activities are suspended in forest reserve. Except in exceptional circumstances. That's what I'm kind no. Now exceptional circumstances dey na ese de ba. And I no ka say rock show. Prospecting or Etiwa forest in respect of bauxite.
Yes.
So I mean, will anybody seriously say that Rockshore should not be given a prospecting license to prospect for bauxite in the Etiwa forest? Something that is going to have a transformative impact on Ghana, on our national development agenda, and so on and so forth. Now, prospecting, recognizance, and exploiting. The entire say mo bi anye biem ni say ni ehu ye ni say nipa bebre ba beje prospecting license. Na prospecting license unima eno kire ni e kire ani say wo so kwa akohwe say gold wo ho a say wo kona gold ni ho a na wako baby say wo koso na gold wo ho a na wa ba minister na so Mr. Minister me call him say gold on pacho my license na me kotu gold no na prospecting ye ntwadua ye nyehwe no say sebi geological investigations nti wobekọ now what the where yako sisi one wahwe a scientific way of investigating the occurrences of mineral resources or to check the extent to which a particular concession is mineralized. We are sana who say mineralized no aba kasi my on licenses now kutu mani hu yen so bi age prospecting license na no akono ko oye akotu tu na ku bisa na say okrata won ho say any prospecting license tinaje say na e di abro na say e boy form enu tina me say okay by no try no be engine mo bi anya prospecting for us say bi and make my kinds to say and na me no ka say sanity Forestry Commission for the Omo report now you have say almost all the forest reserves in Ghana, the integrity of them have improved and they are largely being protected because the rule has held them. So prospecting. And me as minister, I've not signed a single prospecting license in respect of forest reserves since I became minister.
But by recent development, the show honorable said in some of these forest reserves, still mining air koso, which might not fall under exceptional circumstances. The recent documentary Erastus some forest reserves are manfugum mining. In fact,
illegal mining and also
illegal mining.
So, illegal mining, that's a criminal conduct. That's illegality, and that one we deal with it accordingly. The fact that the minister has come out with a ban on prospecting and recognizance as well as exploratory activities in forest doesn't mean that certain people will not flout that rule, will not be recalcitrant. Those people are perpetuating and engaging in illegality. When it comes to our attention, we deal with it. Like this Tanon Nemrem Samra boy relating to this Akonta matter. I have gone a step further to get a task force from the Forestry Commission with helicopters to flash the whole forest reserve of all kinds of mining, not just in respect of Akonta, but everything. And today, the indication I get from the Forestry Commission is that that particular forest reserve, at least for now, is rid of any illegal mining activity. Look, and the thing is that these forest reserves are thousands of hectares of forest reserves.
Yes.
Huge. You go to Moli National Park.
Yes.
The Moli National Park alone is bigger than Upper West region. Yes. Bigger than probably Upper East region. It's a huge landmass. And so, yes, I mean, I'm not suggesting that it's an excuse or it's a justification or rationalization of people engaging in illegalities in these forest reserves. But the truth also is that you always will have real practical challenges in policing these forest reserves, which is why in some cases you can find somebody buried deep down into the forest reserve and conducting illegalities there. But when it comes to our attention, we deal with it like we dealt with this Tano Nimra Forest Reserve issue.
Yeah, but more critics are a course and they can't believe it why something like this is happening in the forest reserve and nobody in officialdom seem to know about it.
Yeah, we should investigate it. We're investigating that. We're trying to find that out. When I went to Mansour Dubia a week or two ago, the kind of devastation I saw, and the devastation obviously must have been caused by years of illegal mining activity, not even a decade. And I was very concerned that all the various officials there didn't seem to have flagged this and brought this to our attention. And so action is being taken as I speak. People are being queried and people are going to be punished if they are found to have neglected their work. So the point you make is a legitimate point, but it has to be investigated, it has to be examined, it has to be interrogated. And if we find basis that people were negligent or complicit or corrupted or what have you, they will be dealt with.
And for that point, no, some have said, say, in exacting punishment, no, it was say you call up the ladder. Now, and I refer to the media coalition statement and I make no, they make some recommendations, and one of them then they say I was a president the even MMDC is cry BBC Ekosiisen in their district, no, ye pamu.
We can. Of course, I'm not the appointing authority. Secondly, you need to be up in simping.
Yes.
You know, I don't hold briefs for MMDCs. If we have had evidence of negligence or incompetence or complicity of a particular MMDC, I think that person should be dealt with. There's no two ways about that. But we also have to always be careful how we proceed. I mean, we are in a democracy,
yes,
and therefore, because we didn't want mob rule, we didn't want dictatorship. That's why we brought this democracy, which has all these checks and balances, sometimes a bit annoying and cumbersome. But nonetheless, that's what we've chosen. And you know, the thing is that this is the best system that we can ever have. So the rule of the game is always evidence,
yes,
and then also the facts. In some cases, you find illegal mining being pervasive in a particular district, which may be, and I say which may, a big may, that the MMDC is not up to the task or that he's complicit. I have no such situation, but it is possible. But there are other situations too where the illegal mining may be pervasive, which may be because the MMDC has done all his best, but the reality of it, and you should speak to the MMDC, they also have all kinds of challenges. Logistics, the miners being overarmed, and sometimes they don't even have enough personnel to clamp them down, and in some cases even the lack of cooperation by local security authorities. There is a cocktail of issues out there. So that's why I'm not too sure that a blanket statement or call like this, as I acknowledge that it may be worthy of interrogation, may not be true in all cases.
Because media coalition, they a critical stakeholder in all of this, as you earlier rightfully alluded to, no? Or more recommendations need be, maybe we can interrogate them. Almost say order all small scale and surface mining activities to stop immediately, to allow our water bodies and forests to begin to be restored, and strategize a way to bring sanity to all surface mining activities in Ghana. Sir, halt of mining activities, no yayada. Are you minded say bit me assign IABU CCA said you're more recommended no? Yen halt all forms of surface mining.
Yo, the kind surface mining here, friend, alluvial mining. The experts will tell you that it constitutes about 90% of small scale mining in Ghana.
Yes.
I mean, that is really why it is called small scale mining, because rock mining and underground mining tends to be very expensive.
Yes.
And therefore, small scale miners mostly do not have the wherewithal to be involved in surface mining or rock mining. So about 90% of small scale mining is
alluvial.
Mostly alluvial, surface mining.
Surface mining.
Now, so once you ban surface mining, it means that you are banning small scale mining in essence. in substance.
Yes.
If 90% of it
Yes.
is alluvial
Yes.
or small-scale surface mining,
Yes.
it means that you are banning small-scale mining. So the question is, do we ban small-scale mining? You have to put all the variables on the table and examine the variables. First of all, there are people who are involved in legitimate small-scale mining, which has regard to the environment. Regard to the environment. When they excavate, they reclaim the land, they revegetate, they conduct geological investigations before they proceed with the mine, which means they don't engage in what I call nomadic mining, which is that you mine here, you move there, you are just fishing. And that's what is so destructive of the environment. When you don't have geological data before you begin to excavate a particular concession, this is what destroys the environment, because you are just doing try and lack. And to the extent that you are not getting minerals, it means that you continue to excavate and destroy the landscape and destroy the vegetation. So there are those who do it based on the properly sanctioned environmental protocols and who employ thousands of people, and those thousands of people make their livelihoods from these responsible, lawful, small-scale mining entities. So yes, so if you ban small-scale mining, blanket ban on small-scale mining, you are collapsing this industry, which is contributing to the national economy, which is providing employment. We have to take a look at that. Number two, the small-scale mining industry contributes 40% of Ghana's gold output. 40%. Gold export alone is responsible for almost 40% of our export earnings.
Export earnings.
Yes. So you have to look at that as well. You ban small-scale mining means 40% will be out of your output. 40% out of your output, 40% or so of your export earnings is on account of gold. And you have you know what it means for your national economy, economic growth, and all of that. We have to pay attention to that as well. Thirdly, today the Bank of Ghana is engaged in gold buying to shore up our currency. I mean, I'm told that is one of the things that is mitigating the adverse effects of the depreciation of our currency. And they are doing so with small-scale mining, responsible small-scale mining companies. Yes. So you have to take a look at that as well. And fourthly, we have done this before. We've banned small-scale mining in Ghana before. We did it for 2 years, 2017, 2018. So I will be interested in the media coalition conducting some research or interrogation of what happened with this ban. And whether, well, they should do. Can we have a report on that as to how it panned out? Did it achieve
the effect of ban, impact of ban?
Did it achieve its goals? I'm told, for example, that in the year that the ban was instituted, Ghana's gold output was the highest in that year, and therefore, the question then arises: what was the impact of the ban? I am not taking an entrenched position on ban or not ban. But I think that it requires a lot more sober and in-depth examination than some may put it. Ban small scale. I've even heard people say ban the mining industry, and that we should ban mining altogether in Ghana. We need to be calm and reflective on these matters. That's what I think.
Our second point is to ensure that the Minerals and Mining Act 2006, Act 703 as amended, is enforced without fear or favor. Powerful people involved in galamsey activities in the country should be exposed and sanctioned to serve as a deterrent. And the example they give, and it's against the express directives, no mining in forest reserves. Illegal mining. Some of them, you name the people behind those companies. Why are they not standing trial in line with the Minerals and Mining Act?
You mean Chama to me? That's
sure.
What I mean.
Send the Diaba out.
Okay. So, yes, I think it's a good call. Now, Ubesha, until 2020, Mrana a sanctioning regime for illegal small scale mining, Act 703.
Yes.
Now, Act 703, mostly, in many cases, it prescribed, it gave the judge a discretion to either prescribe a fine or a custodial sentence. Abayim who said na MY. What the small scale miners for equal to say I shall want and you be in we are finding 1 million Ghana cedis. Now, Sabin producer, miners for galamsey for cash or bukurano 1 million Ghana cedis in Fano. Ko bi o ha wo hye excavator num e kina ade nche no sa de excavator du akosi ho na je say iska bibiri no mu kura nti aban ne ye na adwen se ye beti samra no act 703 no am ye de act 995 e buy ye de act 995 by 2020 ma 995 no de kan sa discretion na judge no kura no the law ousted it, so judge didn't need discretion.
Okay.
So the judge has to impose a particular sentence mandatorily. It is a shall. It's mandatory. And no nature say ye chi obi a or ye foreigner on free my muha near the no court near ye could odifo na ye the sentence ye manner a minimum of 20 years plus a fine of not less than 1.2 million Ghana cedis plus deportation after serving the sentence. And for Ghanaian, the minimum punishment is 15 years imprisonment and a fine of 120,000 Ghana cedis. So that is the sentencing regime now. And untina sabi Nigeria for it me 20 years. And untina yenyina ye di akoniaba say Ashawan and Crawford ye dey on trial, go through the trial and then hopefully without making prejudicial comments, sentence them and give them this kind of punishment. And yes, we've amended the law, and the law is being enforced to the letter. Powerful people. Me as I say, no metia sebi yana emewa kakra because me adwuma me sebi obi in previous. I may come from Makoma and I may come with all the sincerity and candor. I can marshal out of my being. Yeah, I'm totally blind to so-called powerful people. Who are those powerful people? Take for example Aisha One. When this matter came up, niani ubia can say ubia Aisha One yi ubia ntimi nyane hwe omuntimi mfane court omuntimi slap charges on her and I'm say or you're highly connected to the highest level or sex tape say in the end it na court. We've slapped the most punitive charges against her, and we are prosecuting her in a very spirited manner. Why we name say na mrani ye adwuma bia no and say na attorney general nkasa be court or prosecute matter. That is a very important matter. Mostly the attorney general goes to the Supreme Court to deal with constitutional matters, but the attorney general himself is prosecuting this matter. Aisha One, it tells you the importance that the government places on this matter. And as a matter of fact, very unusually, the Attorney General has been able to secure a remand until the determination of the case, which means even if this case was to drag, the trial was to drag for 5 years, Aisha One will be in prison custody for 5 years. That is how draconian the Attorney General has been in bringing this woman to book. Now we are being told so because of Freddie Blay and TMP before are trying to cook the trial and there. Well, that's shifting the goalposts because initially the point was that we cannot prosecute this woman. I am just waiting for the day this woman, God willing, hopefully, fingers crossed, the Attorney General will be successful at securing a conviction and sentence. I want to hear some of these critics, what they will say.
But are you not worried about Freddie Blay move to defend accomplices?
Well, I'm obviously very concerned about it because of the fodder and the ammunition it gives to conspiracy theorists. I would have wished he didn't. I mean, I would have wished he would decline it. But those are not matters for me to make determination.
But what my reasons are the reasons tangible to you?
I'm saying to you, in spite of all the reasons, I, as a minister for mines, I would have wished that he turned down the brief. I mean, when I was in court and when his daughter announced herself, I said to my assistant that this is going to be controversial. It doesn't mean he's done anything wrong at all. I mean, a lawyer's representation of a client is steep in the jurisprudence of our country. The criminal justice system presumes a person innocent
until proven guilty.
And therefore, the whole world may think that somebody is the worst murderer. The person remains an innocent person. And the right to representation is also fundamental to fair trial. Exactly. And so is it that the Republic, who is an adversary in matters of criminal prosecution, cannot be making determinations as to representation for the accused person. That would defeat the concept of fair trial. But I'm saying, in spite of all of that, I personally I personally.
Unya idea anka.
Yeah, exactly. Because then all this distraction and conspiracy theories and the rest would have been avoided. But be that as it may, that is what it is. I think what should happen is that we continue with this prosecution in a very spirited manner, so that regardless of what representation they have, we're able to adduce sufficient evidence to secure conviction in court. Now, so your question about
other people who are politically exposed, some belonging to your
party. So my
point
is that there's no such thing. First of all, Obi, I haven't had an opportunity to make this point. Let me make it. This Akonta mine thing, I brought it up to the front burner. It was out there in the media, in other places. It was being talked about. The first time it was officialized and brought up at the level of government was me as a minister, putting it out, in spite of the fact that the director of the company is supposed to be a chairman of my party in the Ashanti region. I could have chosen to turn a blind eye on this.
You did by saying, Minerals Commissioner or more license.
Yes, and instructed that whatever operations is happening there should be closed down. I did so, and I did so publicly. I did not do so under the table. I did not call the Forestry Commission CEO or Minerals Commission to say, please go and tell my chairman to take off his equipment or do this or do that, if there are any equipment at all, and said that let's organize this under the table. I didn't do so. I issued a public statement, official public statement on the matter, and it could not have been equivocal more than I did. When it came to Extra Gold, which was supposed to be connected to my National Women Organizer, we went ahead. You saw the controversy that it generated in this country. The president's instructions to me is very clear. I have his full backing in this matter. That's please no considerations of status in society or connection or whatever. This matter is beyond reproach. That is what we did. But the Akonta matter, the facts are here. What it will surprise you to note that the first license the company got was as far back as 15 June 2011. You see, I have the license here. I can give you a copy. It didn't begin under my tenure. The second license they got was 31st December 2012, not under my tenure. They actually got 3 prospecting licenses as far back as 14 June 2012. 31st December 20. That time Akufo-Addo was the president of Ghana. My predecessors gave him those mineral rights, and as a matter of fact, the licenses I granted that company, which are not within the forest reserves, it totally out of right. The minister will have to have some very strong basis to reject an application of that nature.
Sure.
Having secured prospecting licenses, spend money to do prospecting, and actually having paid ground rent and paid mineral fees, gotten all your permits and the rest. The minister's approval of that kind of process is actually as of right. You cannot do otherwise. You must have very strong grounds. Otherwise, the country will be molten in
judgment. What you gave them was not for them to enter a forest reserve.
No. This is completely outside the forest reserve.
Sure, but now they've done that.
Hold on. And then they begin processes which is about 95% complete to get a mining lease in respect of this forest reserve.
Yes.
And always remember that we've never banned mining in forest reserves. No. What we've banned is prospecting.
Yes.
We haven't banned mining. So they've gone through the process, 95% complete. Almost the same as the 3 that they have. Which also in many ways a minister must have strong reasons to refuse or to decline that kind of application, having gone through all the processes: Forestry Commission, Minerals Commission, the online application, paid your fees, all of that. In most cases, the minister will just have to grant as of right. But because it's a forest reserve, and because of all the considerations that I put into account when these matters come on my desk, I have not granted it. That application is still pending in my office.
Application for the mining lease.
Yes, haven't gone through the process. So a lot of the documents that were being thrown about that, the man had been given a license by Abu Jinapor. With the greatest of respect, people just didn't understand the process.
But at the time when you prospect, because Ubenya prospecting, in fact, Ubenya reconnaissance, when you prospecting, no Ubenya mining lease. At the time when you reconnaissance, prospecting, no, na ban on prospecting no anyhow.
Yeah, but even the prospecting is not in the forest reserve, and the ban on prospecting doesn't apply to places which are not forest reserve. So that doesn't even come up at all. And in the case of this forest reserve, we are not talking about prospecting lines. We are talking about mining lease.
Mining lease.
Yes, and we have not banned mining in forest reserves. No. So, except because the point is that the protocols relating to prospecting, as it relates to the environment, are fundamentally different from the processes relating to mining lease and mining in forest reserve.
Sure.
The protocols in respect of mining in forest reserve is much, much higher, very stringent. Forestry Commission people must be there, environmental EPA must be there, so that an inch of excavation will have to be reclaimed. And if you harvest, say, one tree, you have to plant about 5 or 10, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's why mining is not banned in forest. Newmont is mining in forest reserve. There are several mining operations in forest reserve. Just that the protocols they have to follow are more stringent, are high. The standards are very high. So what I'm saying is I have not granted that mining lease.
That mining lease for them to enter the forest.
And it's essentially because it's a forest reserve, because I need to cross my T's and dot my I's.
But is that not the main reason why directors of that company should be prosecuted for that illegality? It is beyond stopping them, no? They have to be prosecuted.
And the investigation is being conducted by the Forestry Commission.
Okay.
And I conduct my business in accordance with due process, with the greatest of respect.
Okay.
And therefore, we should wait for the Forestry Commission's report, because the company itself is written to me and is made several representations about their side of the story. And they don't admit that they were involved in illegal mining in that forest reserve, and they claim, in the correspondence that I have with them, on the letter they've written to me, that these mining activities were being conducted by illegal miners who were not connected to them. Can we wait for the Forestry Commission's report? I see that the special prosecutor is also investigating other aspects of this matter. Let's wait for the outcome of these investigations, and we take it from there. If we have sufficient basis to go after them, why not?
And would you assure the Ghanaian people, say, under your watch, if there is sufficient basis, say, these guys should be prosecuted, you would do that on behalf of the people of Ghana?
Well, but I'm not even responsible for prosecution.
No, you will not do the prosecution, but at least you push for it to be done.
I will do my part of the work. If I have a report that contains evidence or facts which suggest criminal conduct or flouting of laws, I will refer it to the Attorney General. He will take it from there.
Having been seized with facts, and we'll decide whether to prosecute or not. Okay. But now assurance and I'm a partner say, Obama Ghana for you now, so I say, unya report, and I said there are some criminalities in there. Obama Attorney General are aware, now prosecution possibly, as I say. You do that for the people.
But we've done that with all other people. So I'm not too sure why it should be an exception in this particular case.
Okay.
Why do you think it to be an exception?
Yeah, because OSHA coalition for recommendations that they make the point, say, what you have to say, this whole fight, and straightforward, complicated. And we need new best serve as deterrence to people. And when a man for said the big guys are being dealt with, everyone will be a low.
The effort to broaden the scope to get hold of the barons, the big guys, the kingpins, is being waged seriously. Yes, on all fronts, and it's just very little I can say for the time being because of the sensitive nature of it, because these are security matters. But it's being waged because a lot of these excavators we are talking about, I don't know of young men and women in Obuasi or Mansour who can buy 300 excavators or these are the deep-pocketed people who've never visited the mining concession before and who buy these excavators and put this poor desperate Ghanaian youth to this hazardous enterprise. So in fact, you are right. If we want to get to the bottom of this matter, we have to cut off the head of the snake and we have to break the spine of the jigsaw, which will be that we have to go after the barons, and we are very much interested in doing so. I think Aisha Weinstein is a classic example that we are taking her through this process. And if you know how the industry works, for the foreigners, once they begin to get prosecuted and convicted and thrown into Ghanaian jails, where do go out there in their country that it is not so safe to come and get yourself involved in this industry in Ghana?
Prosecution of Aisha Juan started, Unya calls be from the Chinese embassy or maybe any rep from the Chinese government. Bibi Sama.
No.
Are you expecting Bibi sir?
Well, I'm indifferent on that.
You are indifferent on that. Okay. Honorable Land and Natural Resources Minister, Ekosiisen Higher Sempa FM. We are interrogating him based on some of the recommendations the media coalition, and the media press, and some of the information or the etuja. He tells us officially a military operation Ashas in all mining districts to flush out illegal miners under Operation Halt. Where I think the third phase of Operation Halt. This time it's been revamped. How this is going to be different and all of that. In the recommendations, ni biomokase sack any MC or DC in whose area of jurisdiction illegal mining has taken place and still continues based on evidence on the ground. And number 5. Ministers and their deputies whose responsibility it is to regulate the mining sector have failed Ghana. They must also be sacked for disappointing present and unborn generations. 6. Explore the provision of gainful alternative employment to persons engaged in galamsey. And 7. Ensure that the above punitive measures are implemented before Farmers' Day this year, as these activities directly impact adversely the efforts of our gallant farmers. In the Honorable, these are the recommendations. One of them, and it's ministers and their deputies have failed and they must be sacked. Or reaction here then?
Well, I think that one is the president who has to make that assessment.
Okay.
The president is responsible for all of us, and we are all accountable to him. So he has to make that determination. I reject palpably the claim or suggestion that the ministers responsible for the sector have failed. We haven't failed in any way. On the contrary, we are doing our utmost best. We are breaking our backs. We are working day and night. And we are trying to deploy all the known measures, including engagement with the media coalition and some of the suggestions they brought have been put on board, and some of their key actors are in quiet engagement with myself and giving me leads, and we are following up on them and working around the clock. There's evidence that any minister or deputy minister is involved in illegal mining. I just think that in these matters we shouldn't waste too much time in talking. We should put the evidence on the table and the people will be dealt with. As simple as that.
But I'm saying,
myself inclusive. Everybody who is involved in this very nefarious
trade,
evil trade, which is devastating our country and destroying our country. Look, I was sworn into office as minister on 5th of March. By 3 weeks' time, I took a helicopter tour of all of southern Ghana. I went to Central Region, I went to Western, I went to Western North, I went to Ashanti, I went to Eastern, I went to Bono, 6 regions of southern Ghana. By October of 2021, I had visited all 16 regions of Ghana, met almost all the stakeholders in every region who has something to do with small-scale mining. RESEX, Regional Houses of Chiefs, and all. I've done all of that. And when I took the trip, 3 weeks after taking office, Obi, I am submitting and doing so forcefully that almost the entire southern sector of our country had been devastated. I went with the Chief of Air Staff, he's my witness, the General. I flew over southern Ghana with the Chief of Air Staff. We flew over every river body across Ghana. River Ofin, River Brim, River Pra, and Cobra. We went on all of them. Almost the entire southern Ghana had been devastated. The level of devastation must have happened over a period of over decades. It cannot. The experts will tell you that those kinds of excavations could not have happened in 5-6 years. It's been as a result of years of devastation. So, yes, I mean, people are allowed to their opinions and comments and contributions and so on. But for me, I approach this matter in a very serious, substantive way, and the nuances of it is never lost on me. It's a more complicated matter which requires a tactful way of dealing with it, and it's exactly what we are doing.
What drew level Rebecca said, Charlie, this thing is bigger than I initially thought. Now, I'm sure not
at all. I have not gotten to that point at all. And I don't think I'll ever get to that point. I think we will resolve this. I don't give timelines when it comes to these matters. It's not an exact science. Not at all. This is a social challenge, a social canker. It's a social problem. So a social problem will not depend on you alone, or it will not depend on your actions and inactions alone. It will depend on a multifaceted approach. That's what it will depend on. So you may be pulling one side and other people are pulling the other side. Today we've sent soldiers into the field. I know there are men and women of enormous integrity and professionalism, and they will do the work for us, and I have absolute confidence in what they are going to do. But just assuming, for purposes of argument, that the soldiers go there and begin to take money from miners and allow them to mine and so on and so forth. That's one part of the jigsaw which has become a problem. You imagine having a chief in a locality who is parceling out land and selling them to Chinese people for money, and the assemblyman is involved, the Osofo there is involved, all the key moral leaders of the community are involved, even the community people are benefiting. Imagine the impact of it, the consequence of it. I don't say these things to shirk responsibility at all or to pass blame. No. We have a huge responsibility as a government, and I myself, as minister, I have probably the biggest responsibility in this particular fight. And the work I'm doing here in talking to you and speaking to the country is part of the duty that I have to discharge, and that is why I'm speaking the way I'm speaking. But it is also to put the realities of the matter on the table and get people to understand what we are dealing with. The Californian gold rush, which happened in America, you go and read the literature on that. The devastation that took place and the number of years it took them to be able to sanitize the gold industry there. You look at Canada and other places. So I'm saying we will be able to resolve this. It will begin with the efforts we make today, and those efforts are being made, and they will be made and continue to be made relentlessly.
The other thing is that recently a chief out making some claims, including allegations against your deputy. Say they are responsible for some illegal mining in the forest reserve somewhere in Takwa. Have you probably thought of investigations as into those allegations?
Well, first of all, for me, I like I said, some evidence, Fapimanipa no ede kasasa. Enwani here. So he kai deputy minister no no say
we deny flatly
or court, even as far as filing a suit in court, defamation suit in court, and it's anomaly. Western Regional Minister I deny saying we also have to be careful, Obi, with just relying on mere allegations without more. Because as I sit here, I can throw an allegation at you just like that. Say, Obi, you are involved in galamsey, and I walk out of your studio. And because of that, you have to be investigated, or you have to be tagged. So I think that just as we don't sweep matters under the carpet, we also should be careful not to give ourselves into allegations and just allegations.
But how would we get to know them more? Say, Anton Sanfreno, Musana, and I say, you put in place a system to get to understand where the man is coming from. That's all proof be another other.
Well, we will get there. But the point is that what the chief said, he didn't give us anything more than just saying they are involved in illegal mining. He, for instance, not told us the concession, where is the concession, which district is it, blah, blah, blah. But I hear your point about...
Meaning they didn't come out, not say, keep all those ammunition to his chest. When he's called upon, he would provide the proof.
Okay, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Ma, mention we or say Obi. But why is Steve not speaking Tree? He can speak Tree power. Need take tego and another way.
Because Obi himself is speaking a lot of English. You are speaking a lot of English.
Where's Obi? Ask the minister if he saw the announced video. What has been done to all those in the video who were recorded taking bribes and agreeing to help the one who recorded the video? Ghanaians are our own enemies. We have failed to protect our own environment, all because of gold. Those of us here, stop buying foodstuff produced okay, have stopped buying foodstuff produced like powdered fufu, yam, etc. from Ghana. George New York Kaite, Chicago, and Odiweya Brain. This one says, Obi, it's heartwarming listening to the Lands Minister announcing the deployment of military forces into galamsey-prone regions. My question is, how in charge are the military with respect to this latest deployment? Are they to respond to him as the minister, or they are to report to some other persons? I believe that if they are to report directly to their military command, that would go a long way towards clamping down these illegal miners. PK Sapong whispers. PK, I think he's answered that question, sir. Now they will be responding to their military commanders. But my follow-up question to that, Crown Abu Bayer, said, who would watch the watchman? If for soldier for no, is there a system for another layer of monitoring on almost some activities in the fields?
Oh, soldier for some more very elaborate monitoring regime in the Ghana Armed Forces, and they have command and control, and the structure is such that every unit or every officer or every deployment is monitored all the way to the top. So when it comes to the military, I'm not sure we should worry so much about it. They are very, very capable. Their system is very regimented.
Yeah, but with the benefit of hindsight, we should be worried, because Operation Halt 1 and 2, we had
there's military intelligence, there's national security, there's National Intelligence Bureau, NIB. All of these state actors will come to play, and if you want, watch each other, to use your word. So,
we say, Obi, kindly ask Honorable that why is it that some of the soldiers sleep in classrooms without mattresses being provided for them, and also then give them 100 cedis per day? As we speak, we slept on the floor last night at Asiakwa Basic School, and on the pictures near the I would want to believe Cindy Pano
I'll take it up.
Okay. We say, Obi, good evening. I think the talking about galamsey fight is louder than the real action. The key figures involved continue to be protected. Ask the minister, when are those so-called investigations going to end and those top officials mentioned be punished? We are tired of evidence every day. Gastiman Ewo Brikum. Obi, please ask the minister for me his thought about doing small scale without the use of excavators. Okay. This one also says, we say, Honorable Samuel Jinapor is doing a fantastic job as far as nipping the galamsey menace in the bud is concerned. What is left is an unflinching support and cooperation from the key stakeholders in the extractive industry: chiefs, MMDCs, security agencies, politicians across the divide, judiciary, and residents of affected mining communities. In fact, it's on the back of this that we, in the Alliance for Foot Soldiers Advocacy, are calling on Mr. Freddie Blay, the immediate past national chair of the NPP, to reconsider his decision to allow his law firm to legally represent suspected Chinese illegal miners in court. It's our contention that his decision is unpopular and a direct slap on the face of the fight against illegal mining by this government. We call on him to soberly reflect over this poorly thought out decision and do the needful. That said, let me reiterate that Honorable Abu Jinapor is a good man who needs the support of every Tom, Dick, and Harry. I wish him well. Sir Obama Pokwase. Obi, glad to hear Honorable serve as some clarity and intelligent solutions. You've made him to answer many of my questions. Mining shouldn't be banned in Ghana now. Its contribution to economic growth is enormous. We support refining of the processes involved to annihilate the concomitant effect. Obi, Mr. Jinapor should share figures from the halt operation. How many sites have been clamped down on or closed since commencement? Saying many have been clamped down is no information, please. The public may only assume that the strategy is not effective. Also, there should be a period floor for the halt operation, i.e., the least period the operation will last. We are afraid that they will cease operations in 3 months and announce that they are well satisfied with the result in hand. If not, may we know the criteria for determining the satisfaction he means, because many miners are financially capable of hiding for 3 months. No second is wasted on 94.7 FM on weekdays. Insightful conversations always. Mbo Nejuma. Regards to all members of Corp Nation Foundation. Mensa Lyrics. Honorable, I think he raises some very critical points. Indeed, or say a starting yet, how many sites have been clamped down so far since commencement? Saying many have been clamped down is no information. And or say there should be at least a period the operation would last. Said it be to me I'm monitoring who say, okay, you're not satisfaction.
The operation will last for as long as it's necessary. That's the answer.
What does satisfaction mean to you? At what point we are satisfied?
We'll continue to review the situation.
Okay.
And then when we get to the point where we think we have a satisfactory situation, particularly as it relates to the river bodies of our country, then we will take decision on that.
We'll take a decision on that.
But then the question about how many sites have been clamped down, I think sometime next week or so, I will have another update with the military people present, and they will give us sufficient information as to what exactly transpired. Yes.
In some of these operations, it's almost easy gold. You've heard that narrative before. Say, yes, easy gold. Cry, you will be a gold enough.
Well, the law Act 995 is very clear. Seizure of all of those things are supposed to be kept in the custody of the police.
Of the police?
Yes.
For what?
For safekeeping. And
then what happens?
And then the law, take a look at the law. You have to, I find that those provisions quite laborious.
Okay.
And I'm actually thinking of amending that law. And I have a team in place that is working a paper for me, possibly for us to go to cabinet to motivate the cabinet discretion to give us approval to amend that part of the law. Because the law says that the Minister for Mines, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources have to go to court after confiscation and get a court order before these. So there's seizure,
yes,
and then there's confiscation, and there's a world of difference between seizure and confiscation. When you seize, it's like taking it from the whatever you've taken it, but to confiscate it and therefore be able to deal with it the way you please, you have to go through the legal process, the court process, to have an order for you to confiscate, and then the ingredients required to be able to do that are very laborious, very cumbersome, because you have to come up with the owner of the equipment or whatever which is used in illegal mining, and so on and so forth. And that's mostly very difficult to find, because you have these miners, they register these things in shell companies and fronts and all of that. So we're looking at the law again, but as the law stands now, everything that is confiscated is to be given to the police, and we've made it abundantly clear. Excavators, whatever, which is confiscated, which is seized, should be given to the police.
To the police?
Yes.
Going forward?
Yeah, it's been the law, and since I came, this has been the rule. Even the excavators I inherited, I've handed them over to the police.
And they are in safe custody with them?
Yes.
James Kwabena for message, by my final message, near Jail Crime Welcome, so other engagement. You are doing a program at Academy of Science, Art and Sciences.
Yes, sir.
What would deliver lecture?
No, this my professor who is who was the dean. Who was the dean of the Faculty of Law.
Okay.
At the time I was a student, Professor Kwashiga.
Okay.
He was a dean.
Okay.
At the time I was in the Faculty of Law.
Okay.
Excellent man, and I've had a lot of respect for him. And he's delivering a lecture today at the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. I want to be there.
Okay. James Kwabena said, Obi, Ghana is ours together. Only together can we make it in fighting wrong. However, if we choose to be cynical at every effort and call the commitment of leaders to nothingness, very little can be done. The worst galamsey is the distortion and insincerity with which we engage in public discourse. Fighting wrong in a theatrical style won't help anyone. Careless talk and sensationalism won't help either. We are all involved. The minister and his team have shown the way by the relentless effort they are investing in this crusade. Obi, their effort can yield meaningful results only when we choose to cooperate. You agree with him, I think?
I fully agree with him, and I know very much that for very many years, my good friend Kabila has been at the forefront of environmental issues, and he's been fighting this matter way before I even came into government. And you recall his long-standing battles with Niemont and all these other people. Yeah, so I cherish his contribution a lot.
When all is said and done, after maybe 2 years, I ever go into the next election. But when the history is being written at the Ministry of Land and Natural Resources, where do you see yourself in that history?
Well, not so much myself. I think where will we see the team, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and for that matter, government? Now we came in and we found a problem which existed already, which was very endemic, which is very pervasive, which is very complicated, and which many may even suggest that it's not possible to get a handle on. But we did the right things. We made the best effort to make progress and take the effort further down the road, and did so, for me, in an atmosphere of absolute transparency and integrity. I think that is absolutely important, because this industry is an industry of money, Obi. It's a lot of money floating around in this industry, because we're dealing with gold, and gold is money. So it's a lot of money that people make. And therefore, whoever is part of this effort must at all time be mindful of the need to adhere to the highest standards of integrity and transparency. I think it's absolutely important. You cannot you cannot say you are clamping down illegal mining on one breath, and then on another breath you are connected to illegal mining.
Illegal mining.
It doesn't add up.
Yeah.
So it's easier said than done. But I think by all means we all have to rise up to the occasion and be very strong and keep our integrity intact, and so on and so forth. And so we should be at a position where the reforms have taken root. All the many major interventions we are seeking to make, the community mining system, the mercury-free gold catchers, the licensing regime, the online application system, the award system, which is supposed to motivate the small-scale miners who are doing their work responsibly, the alternative livelihood program, the speedboats we are deploying on our river bodies, the river guards, the sensitization of the population, particularly mining communities, and all the gamut of measures we are putting in place to reform this sector. We need to make sure that we ramp them up and we push it forward, and that must gain sufficient roots by the time we'll be leaving that office. That is assuming the president keeps us there for the remainder of his term. And then also the law enforcement mechanism, we need to move forward with this so that the culture of impunity in the small-scale mining sector will be exorcised and uprooted from that particular sector. So people will understand that when they engage in this conduct, there will be dire consequences. And finally, and in my view, most importantly, to be able to go after the big fishes, the barons, the kingpins, the people who import 300, 500 excavators and set up shops for renting excavators to poor, unsuspecting Ghanaians. You hit them, you hit their money, you hit their excavators, and then you are breaking the chain, and you are breaking the back. You are breaking the back of the syndicate. We need,
and that would include burning these excavators.
Absolutely, and then also finding the people behind these things, getting the evidence, which is not going to be easy, because these people don't go to the mining sites, and these people are mostly not even in Ghana. In some cases, they are in Shanghai, they are in Toronto, they are in London, and yet they are financing this enterprise here and raking in all the money. We are going to make the effort to go after those people, and when we do, I think it will help a great deal. As I say, the Minister for Local Government and I are going to come out with additional measures relating to excavators. And I think, yes, it will answer the legitimate concern you put on the table about whether or not we should not ban excavators and the use of excavators in small-scale mining. We will come out. Yes, we'll address all of that. And for me, if we are able to perform our function and perform our duty in this manner, what posterity will make of us, we'll leave it to posterity.
You will leave that to posterity. The Honorable John Abdullahi Jinapor and Moten and Captain John Samuel Abdullahi Jinapor. You see you. And that's Papa for coming through. Ekosiisen.